Hey guys, and welcome back to another Cultured Boys discussion. I'm Pepe and I'm joined by Nathan, and today we're gonna be talking about something that has been out for a few months now. Its news has been out, but it's a game that we're going to be talking about. It releases late this year. It is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. How are you doing today, Nate?
I'm doing very well. Exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think anyone could say they were expecting another Pokemon game.
No.
That would be 3 games in the space of like a year.
It is, yeah. If it's gonna be, because they've said what was it, holiday 2022 at this point?
Yeah.
And so, if it comes out in November, it literally would have been, Diamond and Pearl, Arceus, and Scarlet and Violet. Bear in mind, obviously, Game Freak were working on Arceus.
Yeah.
And Game Freak are working on this as well, which makes you think, okay, also...
Supposedly, they have 2 teams working on stuff at Game Freak.
Okay, yeah.
So, one team obviously was working on Arceus and one team was working on this, which is why we can have such close releases.
Yeah.
But it also does beg the question, how much collaboration was there between the teams?
I feel like jumping straight into this quite early, to be fair. I feel like they've seen how well Arceus has done with its battle system. I feel at this point, I feel like they must find ways to include that into this new one. I feel like they're gonna have to, because I think although there's mixed reactions to the Arceus battle system. There's people who love the original style of Pokemon play, where it's very much IV based, EV based, and then there's the Arceus style, where it's not so much focused on turn-based, very much focused on a whole bunch of other things. Adventure for one. This is more a story-focused game more than a battle one, in my opinion. That's how I saw Arceus. Yeah, I feel like this is good. I feel like this will go down the more traditional way of Pokemon games. It's gonna be...
I mean, it has to, because it's a mainline title.
It is the mainline title, yeah. And it feels like it probably will be gyms. It will be sort of, I don't know, trainer battles, that kind of thing. Which is nice to see, I guess. I feel like we haven't had this is, what was it? The last new generation came out in 2019.
Yeah.
So really 3 years after between gens. When you think about it, because Pokemon Black and White, I'm just using this as an example, came out in 2010?
Something like that, yeah.
2010. It came out in... Did it? I think it came out in No, it's 2011. It came out in 2011.
I don't know,
because
man.
Then Black and White 2 came out in 2012, and then Pokemon X and Y came out in 2013. Pokemon Sun and Moon came out in 2016. So bear in mind, there's a 3-year gap between Sun and Moon, X and Y, and then we had Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. So realistically, between gens, this is an average gap. An average gap of 3 years is probably right. And obviously, you've had Diamond and Pearl remakes, which are questionable.
They were fine. I wouldn't say it doesn't need to be said that questionable. It's just people expecting things that were never promised.
I think, yeah. I think we've talked about this in a whole Diamond and Pearl discussion.
Yeah.
A 3-year gap between gens is good. I think for me, I thought they were gonna the reason why I was surprised by Scarlet and Violet's announcements was because it was so quickly after Arceus came out.
I think that's the main point.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be DLC for Arceus. I thought they were going to be working on that a bit more, have a bit more space between it. But no, they're literally just yep, new game coming out this holiday season.
I think that's why it feels so crazy, is because we've had, okay, granted, all 3 games, 3 different teams, but it already felt kind of crazy when it was Diamond Pearl remake, and then month and a half, 2 months later, this whole other game, Arceus does gangbusters, and then out of nowhere, literally no one's expecting it. Hey, we're doing another Pokemon. You'll get at the end of the year.
Yeah.
We've really had Pokemon releases like that ever.
No, really not. I feel like, the closest thing I can kind of put it towards is maybe what was it, Ruby and Sapphire, Alpha Ruby and Mega Sapphire came out.
Yeah, and then Sun and Moon, pretty close after, it felt like.
Yeah, because that was... Well, that was 2 years apart. X and Y came out, and then Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire came out a year later.
It's just, I don't know. It just feels...
I feel like it just because we just literally had a Pokemon game released, announcing a new one kind of feels wow, that has come really quickly. I think it's the timing of the announcement.
It feels rushed, but I think that's also because most people don't have the background knowledge of there's 2 teams working at Game Freak. Like, I didn't know that
Yeah.
until after the announcement. When I went off and did a bit of research. Once I found that out, I was like, oh, I guess that makes sense because they could have been working on this the entire time. You know, that's why it's ready now.
I feel like Pokemon is really like, I feel like it dipped a little bit in the early 2010s. I feel that's where, like, I don't know, people were like, oh, do people still even play Pokemon anymore? And now, like, I feel like since Pokemon Go released, I feel like that just shot up massively. I think people got massively into it from 2016 onwards. Again, it's like it's had its second wave a little bit.
I think that's because by 2010's time, that's when the people who grew up with Pokemon as kids, i.e. us,
Yeah.
were teenagers, and it was sort of around the same time you'd be like, it's baby stuff, and it like kid stuff. I'm not a kid anymore.
The games didn't change up the format that much either. They were literally just like his like 8 new gyms and a new region. Enjoy.
Yeah, and it looked a little nicer.
Yeah, those are the only real like things that you can throw in Mega Evolution, but even then, Mega Evolution wasn't like a big seller for the games, was it? I don't think it was a big.
Well, it sold me. I fucking love. I still love Mega Evolution. I think it's actually one of the things I wrote down.
Mm-hmm.
I still want Mega Evolution back. I think that was a cool mechanic.
I preferred Mega Evolution over Gigantamax. I definitely and over Z moves.
I hate Z moves. I hated Z moves. That was dumb.
Yeah.
The Z moves and the Z crystals. I get rid of that. That's fine.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that one.
Dynamaxing is not bad. It just feels like a shitty version of Mega Evolution.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I quite like the designs. I like the fat Pikachu. I like that he came back.
But I think that's why it felt like all it was giant, and some Pokemon had different forms.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what Mega Evolution is. It's a temporary form.
Yeah, it really is, and I feel and Mega Evolutions lasted longer, is it? Because like Dynamax,
it's only 3 turns, whereas Mega Evolution was the whole battle, and for that one Pokemon, like.
Yeah.
But I think that's why I didn't quite enjoy Dynamax or Z moves or Z moves, because it felt like all they did was take Mega Evolution and like split off into some separate parts.
Yeah.
Because Mega Evolutions, the Pokemon also had a special move, which is a Z move,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then a temporary form, which is Dynamax or Gigantamax for some. The only thing about Dynamax is that any Pokemon could grow giant. That was cool. But besides that, like, I don't know what I would want as the next big mechanic, really.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what they're thinking, but I would like Mega Evolution to come back.
I'd like to see a return of Mega Evolution. Off of the Z move thing, I laughed a little bit before, just because I don't know if you've ever seen the video of because obviously in those 3DS games they didn't give a lot of their Pokemon like distinct animations, right? And the Fairy Z move, when you put on Xerneas, have you seen the video of it?
No, I haven't.
Because if you put the Fairy Z move on Xerneas, it does this whole animation where like the fairy Pokemon is supposed to fly around and like do some stuff. But Xerneas is obviously a deer, and it doesn't really have that. It doesn't have grandiose movements or anything. It's not doing much. So you just see what looks like this PNG of a deer just floating around doing like twirls and stuff. And it just looks so freaking stupid. But it's it makes me laugh so much with that. It just brought back that freaking memory of this fucking deer just going around in circles.
See, I feel like that's something that needs to be mentioned though. Is whilst you found that funny,
Yeah.
that is what people are complaining about the most now with these modern games.
100%, yeah.
Is that they've got all the money to spend to work out how to put in more motion, more sound, like make it a nicer looking, like more modern version of Pokemon. And it feels like they've only ever put in the bare minimum. Like at the start, I didn't complain about Arceus because I didn't think it looked that bad.
Mm-hmm.
But the more I played it, the more I read things, I was like, actually, yeah, why doesn't it look as good as it could?
See, my thing with this is, I feel like there's this pressure right now for Pokemon games. I don't think anyone's ever asked for it, right? But they release a Pokemon game every single year. And realistically, they don't need to do that. But they do. And I feel it kind of like doesn't give them much development time to actually make these things like these textures look good. When you're putting out a game every single year, I think if you had more development time, like gave it like a 3-year thing to work on this, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. Maybe they have been working on it for 3 years. Maybe they've been working on it for longer, for all I know. If they have been working on it for longer and these textures don't look like top notch, shame on like Game Freak Nintendo for putting that stuff out still. But like for me, like I think they just need to space these games out a bit more. Pokemon is still good. Like you got you got the anime going on. You've got trading cards, you've got like all sorts of stuff going on. It's like spin-offs, mobile games, like it's a conglomerate at this point. But like I feel they still have that pressure to keep putting out these mainline titles every single year. And it doesn't really do them like any justice from doing so. If they release like a mainline Pokemon game, what was it, 5 years after the next one or whatever, I'd still buy it. I'd be like, oh my god, a new Pokemon game. Like, look at freaking Kingdom Hearts, for example. Like, it's like, what was it? That game came out mid-2000s, and then it came back again in bloody, like, what was it? Like, 2016, 2017 or whatever. And then, like, there's another one coming out now. I mean, not coming out. It's been announced.
Yeah, but I mean, in that example, right, I watched the trailer for that.
Yeah.
Sora only looks slightly better than he did before.
Yeah.
The world, it looks more hyper-realistic, but Sora still looks like Sora.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
He looks almost the same as in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Mm-hmm.
So the argument, even though I was a game design student and I fully understand the timelines and stuff of game production, you could still make something look nicer, right? Because that's already part of the job. If you're already having to remake or like make new locales, new things, you can have someone put in some time to make nicer models or whatever, because it just feels like they're reusing shit to save time.
Yeah.
When really that's kind of the problem.
Depends how much, but like, yeah.
You don't have to completely reuse it as is. You can still take a 3D model and texture of Pikachu, right? Mm-hmm. Now just add a bit more detail.
Yeah. All
I'm saying is, like, you don't have to put in major amounts. I'm not expecting to see every single strand of Pikachu's fur, but, like, do you know what I mean? Like, a little more textured.
Yeah,
you can put a few, like, tufts of hair here and there, you know, like tufts of fur or whatever.
Yeah.
Just a little more detail in it. It's all just flat colors and stuff. And even the faces don't feel like they're properly, like, modeled.
No, I get that, yeah.
They model like a basic shape and then like slap an animation on it.
Yeah. Especially, yeah, you kind of you really tell that in Arceus, you really do.
And I think at least for me, the thing I'm realizing now, the more I'm talking about it, is why do the Pokemon always look so shiny? Like in 3D,
yeah,
the Pokemon feel like they are always really reflective. And I'm like, how am I supposed to believe that some of these things aren't a magical creature that is made on a computer?
Yeah.
If they sort of reflect a bit too much light.
But I think with that kind of thing, do you feel like it would turn out like very much a little bit like Detective Pikachu in a way where like some people are a bit too scared about the hyper realistic looking Psyduck? Or the Jigglypuff, for example, that looks a bit weird. Or Mr. Mime at that point.
I'm not saying go that far.
Yeah.
You can still make things 3D and it look cartoony, right? That's what cell shading is.
Yeah.
There's ways around it. I'm just saying, like, Pokemon models look really flat. Even in 3D, they feel very flat because it's just like a solid block color.
Yeah.
And you can tell that they've translated exactly what a 2D image would be like if you expanded it into 3D, but they didn't put in, like, they haven't thought about sort of the extra details.
Yeah.
Or they're choosing to ignore it. I don't know. I don't want to speak on behalf of the devs and the teams, but...
Exactly, yeah.
Like, someone's decision somewhere is to be like, we don't really need to make little tufts of extra fur because that takes up too much memory. And sometimes I also feel like, you know, having this excuse, quote unquote, again, I'm not blaming anyone, I'm not really trying to make too much of a point, but like having the excuse of like weaker hardware and like memory limitations because of a cartridge. There's compression techniques and stuff. Like you can optimize things.
Yeah.
There's always some way to optimize it. It's just I feel like someone somewhere doesn't want to put in the time and the effort, like the time and the money to get the product to where people might not complain as much.
I think like that's it. It all falls down to that like one thing. We don't know exactly what goes on behind the scenes with this sort of thing. At the end of the day, a company has its like priorities and stuff.
Yeah.
Whether that is like saving money in certain points, even though they make a shit ton of it. Yeah, like even if it's like saving money, even though they make a shit ton of it, or like oh no, like they might have other priorities somewhere. Like oh, we got like put a certain amount of money in this place, this place, this place. Like who knows what actually goes on behind the scenes there.
Again, I understand that. I'm not saying it's, any specific group or person, but like something somewhere is making these decisions.
Yeah.
And I feel like even though Pokemon has the brand recognition, has the power, you can give it all the time in the world, right? I still don't feel like if you gave them 5 years, it would turn out looking more modern at all. Like I feel like all it would be is that now they've got 5 years.
Yeah.
It would still come out the same look.
So like okay, so bring it back to Scarlet and Violet a little bit. Like so obviously we've seen the trailer for that. Like in terms of graphics and stuff like that, like or like anything bit like those sort of.
Like in the trailer, it looks fine, right? The new locales always look great,
Yeah.
but that's because those things are made new.
Yeah.
For the obvious, you can't reuse that many assets, right? The characters, they look fine.
Yeah.
I mean, again, the humans are the part that probably modernized the most. I'm not so keen on the like weird sort of like the characters' costume design.
Character costumes a bit, yeah. Like,
I'm not so much into this weird sailor suit sort of school uniform thing.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with these like the school uniform things, though, is that like what I've learned from these games, the later games anyway, is that they're doing their best to put some more customization in there.
Yeah, and I feel like this design is maybe like a very safe one, but also one that very much encourages you to go and check out the other stuff they put in.
Yeah, I think that this is the thing with it as well, though. Like, both characters actually kind of dress the same, like the male and female characters.
Yeah, that's fine though.
And though it's not really a problem, but like, there's not enough distinguishment between them, in my opinion. Like, obviously, when you look at other like male and female trainers over the years, they both had like somewhat like distinguishable costumes. Like, there's somewhat different. Oh, I quite like the female character in this one. Oh, I quite like how the male character dresses. But like with this one, they actually are pretty much dressed the same here. So it kind of feels a bit like, oh no, does it really matter? Like, but oh no, I'll still choose my male character. I'll still go and like buy some like mad crap in the shop. Like just yeah.
To your point of the characters looking very similar though.
Yeah.
I mean we keep calling it a school uniform because that's what it kind of looks like.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense that they look very similar, like.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if it is like if it going for the school uniform vibe or whatever, yeah, it makes sense to. But like all I'm saying is like though that makes sense. I kind of like the uniqueness of certain styles of characters.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It feels like they have less personality and more like a typical, almost like a Link kind of character. Like a silent protagonist, so you can easily slot yourself in and be like whatever you want in that world.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Pokemon does that the best. Like, I mean, Red is like an iconic character in Pokemon that doesn't say a single word, and it's like, yeah, because you literally hear him, and he just like, sits there, and he just has his little dots, and then he's fine with that. I'm going to just customize my character anyway. I think with a lot of like these games anyway, I feel like I'm just there to collect Pokemon. Find out some, I don't know, find some interesting ones, and then just like create a party, just go into the world, catch some stuff, and then be like, yeah, I'm happy as long as gameplay is fun.
Okay, well, on gameplay though,
yes,
there is only one thing I want. One thing out of everything from Arceus, right?
Oh yeah,
there's one thing I really want to come back. We talked about it in the Arceus episode.
Yeah.
I want to be able to change my Pokemon's move on the fly. Like, that is such a big thing to me.
They need to keep these, like, easy things to switch out Pokemon, all that sort of that. It needs to be quite...
That quality of life, like, just away with TMs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's, again, one of those things, didn't know I needed it until we got it, right? But now that I have it, I don't want to live without it. It seems very cumbersome to be locked into a certain set of moves until I can buy it or find the TM.
100%. Yeah, I completely agree. There's so many quality of life things from Arceus that it could just easily come over to Scarlet and Violet. I do hope they bring him over. I think it, like, for me, like they've shown how progressive Arceus has been in terms of gameplay, like from your traditional Pokemon games to this. And I do hope they bring some of that stuff over. I don't know how I'm gonna feel if they go back to it and it's just like it kind of feels like a step backward.
I mean, well, it's because it is, isn't it? Like,
yeah. What was it? I know some people. We've discussed this about XP share before. I think an option to have people switch that on and off would be quite nice to have.
yeah,
I don't really mind it personally. There's some people that get really.
I would keep it on, but yeah, I think to stop a complaint, just this
Yeah.
on and off thing that'd definitely solve one of the biggest complaints you get.
Yeah.
Which again is like whatever.
Gyms. Would you like to see gyms come back? More than likely, I think they will.
I feel like ever since Sun and Moon, they're probably never gonna try getting rid of them again in the mainline titles because people slated that. I didn't have a problem with it.
I didn't have a problem. I think it's ambitious to try and change up the formula a bit because that was the one complaint I had from X and Y. It just feels like another Pokemon game, and it just feels like I'm going from like the gyms weren't that memorable either. The gym leaders weren't that great, and it just kind of like for me it kind of fell flat. And with this. Yeah, like the thing is with Sword and Shield as well, I kind of got the same vibe from it. Like I didn't really care for like they changed up the Pokemon League in this as well, so it wasn't like an Elite Four. It was like it's a tournament. That's what they basically pitched as, weren't it?
Yeah.
Again, like it's a tough one because I always say, oh yeah, I want change. But then sometimes the change comes along, and I'm like, I don't like that change.
See, like for Sun and Moon, I couldn't care less, right? There was still some sort of like you did some sort of boss fight.
Yeah.
But like with Sword and Shield, I actually, especially because of the context of the world, I kind of preferred that. I don't always really want to do an Elite Four run.
Yeah.
But something like a tournament, that's cool to me. Like I liked that change. I thought that was interesting, especially because like whilst each gym looked the same because they were all big old stadiums, you know, like football stadiums essentially.
Yeah.
It still was like I think as long as the change fits the world, I could care less what it is.
Yeah.
So to your point, like to your question, do I want gyms to come back? As long as it fits why they're not there, I could care less.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still going to run through the story.
Yeah.
Whatever complaints or whatever, people are still going to buy it. I know that you and I are still going to buy it. We're still going to play through the whole thing.
Yep.
So like, it's not a big deal to me.
I agree, you know. Like with the whole gyms thing, I hope like they just incorporate it a bit nice, like and like like as if it feels right within the world. I don't want them to just throw these gyms in. And then it kind of just doesn't fit within the world. I feel like it needs to be a bit more integrated. And I don't think there'd be a problem with that. I think it like make it a bit more of a challenge. Make actually going into the gym or something like I don't know, like I kind of bring it back to like gold and silver a little bit. Like just thinking about, you know, like when you get to Olivine City.
Yeah.
Like you go into the gym, you're like, oh, the gym leader's not here right now. She's caring for a Pokemon in the tower. Then you have to go up the tower, you find the gym leader, and you're like, oh, I've got to get this medicine. So you have to go all the way back down the tower. Go to another island, fight another gym leader, get the medicine, come back. I feel like that kind of stuff, I wouldn't mind seeing that a bit more integrated into later Pokemon games. Like with like Sword and Shield, for example, what I felt lacked there was story. And I feel like you were just like a bit player in that story. That it was like, oh, Leon's gonna like go and like save the day. Meanwhile, you carry on your gym challenge. All the gym leaders are doing their thing. Like, you go find them. And it like I think what I want is a good story from this game. That's what I want more than anything. I like you said, if they took gyms away or they did another system, I actually wouldn't be that disappointed in it. But I just if they're going to include gyms, make a good story around them. Like, don't just have here's this gym for this reason. Enjoy. Like I want good story.
I was just thinking about it. I kind of want to see a Pokemon game, and it'd be hard for balancing, and it would include a lot of work. But now that these Pokemon games are sort of semi-open world,
yeah,
you know, we've got like the wild areas and things. I kind of want to see them try a non-linear Pokemon game.
Yes, I completely agree with that. I'd love to.
Like you were saying, like there's a story, yeah, and maybe the gym challenge is secondary to the story. So you'll have to go to places to, you know, continue this story, but you could do the gyms in almost any order.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see that instead. I feel like that might be an interesting change, but like maybe not so much of a change. Because then you could be talking to your friend and like, you went straight to the last town, right?
Yeah.
It was a bit of a struggle to get there. You caught some cool Pokemon. Maybe they might have been too strong,
Yeah.
but you still got them, right? And then you took down that gym leader.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you did the order like 8, 5, 7, 4, 3, 6, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Like, and your friend did it in a completely different way. And maybe some people will still go from 1 to 8,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe they'll go completely backwards and go from 8 to 1. But I just think it'd be interesting if you could go and do it in any order you felt like.
I absolutely love that concept. I'd love to see that sort of thing, and it gives it like, oh, which one do you like? Have you beat this gym leader? And your mate would be like, no, haven't done that. You're like, oh, okay, cool. This actually brings me back to like a thing that I noticed in Pokemon Origins, the anime,
Yeah.
is that Red goes to fight Brock for the first time. Brock asks, "How many gym badges do you have?"
Yes.
And Red's like, "None." He's like, "Okay then," and then he goes into his drawer
I'm only going to use 2, yeah.
and he has 6 Pokemon ready to go right there, but he only uses like the Geodude and the Onix. And I love that concept that like, what is it? You go to like say that first gym, even though it might be a Dragon type gym from the first first get go, but like they've got like weak Dragon Pokemon or like weaker Dragon Pokemon, like
Yeah. Their team changes depending on you and your experience.
100%. Yeah, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see and that gives you like a good way to just replay the game as well, just to see all these different team combinations that like come up. Like
I know, right?
you'd be like, oh crap, that person just had a Geodude before. Now they've got like a freaking Golem like walking around doing like I don't know, like a Alolan Golem where it's just using Thunder Shocks as like with a rock Pokemon. You're like, Jesus Christ, where's that?
Well, that's the thing. Like, even in the Pokemon anime, like in the original anime, they had gyms that weren't even the official ones we knew.
That's true, yeah.
And like Gary was doing all sorts of different ones. He had 8 badges, but not from like the ones we knew.
So true, yeah. Oh, I love. What I'd love to see then is just like every type have its own gym, but like you obviously like you go and choose which one you want to do. Obviously, I don't know how well that'll work in terms of like I don't know the game.
I mean, if you did a linear game, you could probably like. I mean, roughly how many types you reckon there are?
God, there's
16 ish, or like 12? I don't know.
I'm gonna take a punt and say it's the mid 15ish 16.
So like 8 badges, right? Let's say there's 16. You could just put 2 gyms in each town.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, with the mainline games, there's 2 versions, so you'd probably just have like a whole different set in one game and a whole different set in another, which pisses me off.
Bloody hell, that would piss me off so much.
That's exactly how they would do it, but I think
Yeah.
it could also be cool if you put both gyms in one town, right? So you have 2 per town.
Yeah.
And you pick whichever one you want to go to, and it's still valid, and it would still mean, even though it's linear, you could still have a different experience to someone else.
I love that. Yeah, that's a cool one. I like that.
And like you said, that would then still play into replay value because you could then go and do all the opposite gyms.
Yeah, and then or like if you like beat the champion or whatever, you can come back to those second gyms and have another go at them or something, just so they're there.
Yeah, and then like if you've beat the league, you can go and battle all the gym leaders. There's like fucking Then you've got 16 people.
Yeah,
it could be interesting.
Man, I think that's cool. Yeah, sign us up, Game Freak. Get us on these games.
Well, I mean, it's better than my like joke idea I wrote down.
What was a joke idea?
Fusion.
Right, okay, yeah.
That's the new mechanic. Pokemon Fusion.
I mean...
Yeah, I put it down as a Hail Mary crackpot theory for a gag.
I mean, it's one of those ones where, like, I think it would send the internet into, like, I don't know, like a craze sort of thing if this did happen.
It definitely would.
You know what this is like? Because in Sword and Shield, technically we have Pokemon Fusion. We have, the fossils from Sword and Shield. They're parts from different Pokemon who just got mixed up.
Well, I mean, there's also Kyurem.
Kyurem as well, yeah, Kyurem's a thing. Yeah, that's true. The Necrozma as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, these are things. Granted, there is with legendaries and fossil Pokemon at this point. I mean, How do I feel about Pokemon Fusion?
Again, you don't have to take it that seriously.
No, I know, but like I'm just exploring the concepts of Pokemon Fusion, and it feels like I probably wouldn't be wholeheartedly against it. It depends on what it looks like, because obviously you're gonna be just it would have to be compatible fusions, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't just be every. It's not gonna be like a Pokemon randomizer like you get on the internet. Like,
No, that'd be too much extra work.
here's my Fearow with the fucking Hitmonchan making Dochan. God, like it's just yeah. If they do it right, I wouldn't be against it. But it depends on how they do the Pokemon fusions. And
Okay, how about this then?
okay, yeah,
Do you think they'd add another type?
I'd love to see another type. How it fits into the current typing, I'd love to see as well. I feel like grass type gets a lot of shit right now.
Well, because they added Fairy because Dragon didn't have enough weaknesses, right?
Yeah.
So Fairy theoretically should have been the last type to be added, and there theoretically shouldn't need to be another one, right? Because Fairy's got a couple of weaknesses.
Yeah.
So, like, you'd think it'd be balanced, but I don't know. There's still room, I feel like, to explore more types.
I'd like to see. I remember when X and Y first got announced, and you saw the legendaries for it. There was this theory that like there were going to be new types as well. I think no, Fairy got announced with the game, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like they actually announced, oh yeah, there's new typing, and here's X and Y. But people thought there were going to be more types, and people thought there was going to be light and sound types as well. Because Xerneas was a colourful rainbow deer, everyone thought, oh, that's like light spectrum, and Yveltal was like a wyvern, and it'd just be a sound type. And then there was like, what was it, things about Noivern and Noibats and stuff, and it was like, oh, okay, and it's like,
I mean, I guess a sound type would make sense.
yeah.
Just literally after you say no, yeah, I can see a bunch of Pokemon all of a sudden becoming a sound type, but at the same time,
But light wouldn't work at all whatsoever, considering in Japanese, isn't fighting type light type anyway?
I think people just say like light just because we've got a dark type. That's it.
Yeah, and like, well, technically, the reason why fighting beats dark is because technically in Japanese that is light.
Oh, okay.
Like it is in fighting, it's light type.
Yeah, that makes even less sense than fighting type.
Yeah. I think I believe that's right. I hope that's right. Someone fact check me on that. But
I don't know. To me, hearing like sound type, it just feels like we're doing Naruto now. You know what I mean? Like, all right,
Yeah.
those are the
Water.
Pokemon from the village hidden in the sound.
God, that was a ridiculous thing.
Yeah, I know.
Where was
right?
the village in the sound? There wasn't any. I don't remember no sound village in the. Where was it?
That's where Orochimaru's weird peeps. You know. They
But
had
where
the
was
fucking
it? Where
headband.
was this village?
It was like in some like desert canyon thing.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Barely a village.
It was it was barely a village, but like apparently
it's basically like a town.
but like, you know what I mean? It just feels like I don't know.
Yeah, I get you mean. Like, we're nitpicking Naruto now.
It'd be interesting to see what a new type would be, but I have no idea what type I would want.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Like Fairy was like I would never have assumed Fairy if I was coming up with a type.
No.
Let's face it, because it like at this point it's like basically like forces of nature plus like a little bit extra.
Plus some fantasy elements.
Yeah, like psychic and ghosts and stuff.
Psychic, ghosts, dragons, fairies.
Yeah, what else could you even go for? That's a tough one. Like, I don't even know what you could add.
I don't know. That's the thing. Is like that's why I'm
hyperdimensional being. I don't fucking know.
I had seen some people were saying like almost like not quite like a technology, but it's like lack of a better word.
Yeah, like but it all falls into electric types. That's the thing that I find with that.
Well, that's the thing. It's like anything you could probably classify as like a technology or like a whatever type would either be electric or steel.
Yeah, it is literally that. Yeah, and then you have like stuff like Rotums, for example.
Exactly. They'd be electrical or mechanical.
Yeah.
So, unless you're Porygon, in which case you would be probably the only tech type because
yeah, because then it is.
All the Porygons are human made, so they would be like the only tech type.
Yeah. Yeah, it comes to the point where like it would be good to see another type, but what realistically is it and how it's going to fit into the spectrum? Because that's one thing. Even if you think of a new type, it's like, okay, but what does it go? What's its strengths and weaknesses?
Yeah.
And then it's balancing on top of that as well.
Exactly.
So you can't even if you come up with a solid theory for a type, you know, with its weaknesses and strengths, you got to think of like the meta as well. Like, oh, you don't want to throw it completely out either. Like,
Exactly. Well, I mean, like that's why again, like I brought up the fact that fairy was brought out for a specific reason, is
yeah,
because dragon didn't have enough to take it down. Now it does. So like theoretically, Pokemon is, I don't want to say perfectly balanced, but you know what I mean. Like Pokemon is as balanced, quote unquote, as it could be.
yeah. You don't want to throw any more random stuff in there.
Well, I
Like,
mean, neither of us are fucking meta players at all. Like,
no.
neither of us are into the meta of the fucking game. So don't come at us. We really don't actually know what we're fully talking about.
We'd like to hear if you have any like ideas about that sort of thing. Though, like put in the comments. I'd love to see if like your thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, it's just an interesting, like, kind of like thought experiment, you know? Like,
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'd love to see in these new games. I think yeah, good music. Always like I love Pokemon music. I'd love to see.
dude, there better be some really cool, chill, like, backing tracks. Because,
Yeah,
like, based on where it's set, people have, like, kind of pinpointed it down to, like, Spain or Portugal.
yeah, I've seen that.
So like some really chill, like traditional Spanish or like Portuguese music.
I tell you what, I'd love to see some other composers come into this game because in Sword and Shield, I still feel like the best track that's in Sword and Shield is the one that's written by Toby Fox. Because and it's the battle tower music and literally the thing is with Game Freak they used to like release their soundtracks on like streaming like services or whatever. They had them all on iTunes but they didn't have them. They didn't release them for Sword and Shield, and I was like waiting for it to come out because I wanted to get that Toby Fox song, the battle tower music like on my playlist and that, but it never did come out. Although I just absolutely loved it. Like I'd love to see some other like composers, you know, like composers that you actually know, you can recognize their sound. I'd love to see that come in. Just to make that's like as a fan of like gaming music and stuff. That's what I like to see.
I mean, it's still a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, what was it? Pokemon's 25th was last year, weren't it?
Yes.
Was it? Yeah, it was last year. Yeah, it was last year. Yeah, I mean, like I don't know, it's a pretty big series at this point. Bring in some new composers, get some people to write some stuff, and like, yeah.
But again, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's some things they could do, but there's a decision from somewhere that just stops some of this stuff from happening.
Yeah. Okay, new Pokemon. Let's discuss new Pokemon.
Okay.
And I want to talk about stars as well, briefly.
Okay.
Because obviously, if the later games, we've obviously seen less and less new Pokemon for obvious reasons, because you have so many Pokemon in the universe right now. You have, what is it, 800 and something?
I think it might be.
Well, it's got to be in the 800. It's got 800s, 900s,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think around that.
It's coming close to 1,000 either way. And I feel like we will get new Pokemon. Like, if we don't get any new Pokemon in this, it'd be like, whoa.
No, there'll definitely be new Pokemon. The number we can't be certain on, but there'll be new Pokemon.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't think we end up having like over 100. I think we'll probably end up having like 50 or something. That's what they've been going for.
Do you reckon?
I reckon in like 50, maybe 60 max.
Fair. I mean, I guess they're probably trying to get further and further away from having 1,000.
Yeah, I
or
mean,
like they're trying to slow down that approach to that, because after that, it's sort of like.
Because you have that problem as well. Like, obviously, they don't do the national decks anymore because they have.
Well, I think that's probably why they also might want to avoid getting closer to 1,000.
Yeah.
Or as soon as possible, because then it's sort of like, I think the realization dawns on you like, oh shit, people are gonna want to collect 1,000 of these little things.
Yeah.
But we can't put all of 1,000 in the game.
No, you cannot. Like, it's a problem they have unless they have like, I don't know, like better like system storage or something like that. I don't know, technology words. I'd like to see what concepts come up. I'd like to see more concepts of Pokemon, stuff we haven't seen before. What was it like? Someone said to me like dolphin Pokemon. We haven't seen a dolphin Pokemon yet.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I want to see a pan flute Pokemon.
Fucking hell, that's random. I mean, yeah, I'd love to see some musical Pokemon. You know, I like to see them.
I just feel like that's another thing we haven't quite seen. Like we've, besides like Bronzong, which was a fucking like what's it, tambourine kind of.
Yes.
And we've seen Rillaboom with a drum, and Toxtricity itself creates like guitar sounds.
Yeah, Meloetta is a singer.
a singer and a musical note itself. We've got Pokemon that can make sounds, but they always include something that looks like a thing we have in real life. So why not an instrument?
Yeah, I can see that happening. Like a guitar as well, like
Yeah.
little guitar pen, like make a little band. I can see that happening.
And depending on what it is, like my pan flute idea, that could be a grass type.
Or a sound type.
Oh, fuck off. Fuck off with your sound type.
Yeah, I know.
Don't
No, I
ruin
love
my
the idea.
ideas.
So if you come up with any Pokemon idea, you'd go for like a pan flute. Then is that your?
Yeah, I don't know. I just like the idea of a little pan flute with like a face on it, maybe some little arms or something.
I like that. I love the like. Obviously, you have like Sinistea and those sort of Pokemon. I love them.
Yeah, I mean, or we've got fucking Doublade and whatever. It's a literal sword.
Yeah, literal swords, keys. We've got like all sorts.
Yeah, and we've got like the flower necklace.
Yeah, I'd like to see some cool ghost types. I want to see some good ghost types, like because I feel I don't know. There's been a fair few. What was it? The one that fires torpedoes out its face.
Dragapult. And that's not torpedoes, it's children. Its own children.
Yeah, why not both? But yeah, like that was a ghost type, weren't it? Ghost dragon?
Ghost dragon, yeah.
That was a quite cool ghost dragon, actually. But like, no, I want to see some pure ghost types that look like sinister as hell, or like something that actually looks like a cool ghost type.
I want to see some more unusual pairings, like type pairings.
Yeah, I can see that. Like water fire, like Volcanion.
I mean, we've had a couple, but like, I just want to see more weird stuff like that.
Yeah, something that's unique. I do like the idea of a more unique Pokemon.
I don't know, like, have we ever had an electric grass type?
Yes, there was. Voltorb.
Oh, yeah, right. Of course. Yeah, but that's like a regional variant. I mean, like a
That was a regional variant, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we only get those kind of weird things like as regional variants, or very rarely as like a new Pokemon. But do you know what I mean? I want to see something just strange like that.
You know what came across like mine just there? Remember the koala Pokemon that they brought into? They literally just look like a koala.
A koala with a log, yeah.
Didn't evolve. It was just literally a koala. And like, I feel they could have done so much more with a koala Pokemon, you know what I mean? They could have made like, I don't know, make it big angry koala.
So what you're saying is you want it to be like the little panda Pokemon that turns into a bigger, angrier panda.
Yes, but this one has a tree trunk with it, so it's just swinging. Imagine if it like evolved and just was throwing out trees. Imagine that, literally just picking up pseudo-udos and like throwing them at people.
I mean, is that something you personally want? I know you love pseudo-udos, like...
I mean, if it's going like the whole Dragapult sort of thing, where it's just throwing its children around, the equivalent of like, hey, we're picking up pseudo-udos and it's technically part of its moveset. I don't know, cool. Like, I'll have like I have my koala Pokemon that's throwing pseudo-udos, and I have pseudo-udos like following it. So it's like it's a lineup of like, yeah, go on, just gonna throw them at it. I mean, like Cameron like throws up Pikachu's every now and then.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I don't know. If I could see, I want ghost types. I want cool steel types. Ghost steel? Have you got ghost steel before?
I don't remember.
Because Golurk is ghost ground, isn't it?
Yes.
Which I thought was quite a cool concept. I like that. Ghost steel. Yes, we have had ghost steel. It's Aegislash.
Right. Yes. Of course.
That's the thing, like, I'd love to see more unique concept. They have actually ticked off quite a few of them.
Yeah.
Psychic types, I wouldn't mind seeing some cool psychic types that don't look too weird.
I kind of want to see more, like, cool fighting types as well.
Yeah.
Because I feel like fighting types, it's so easy to make a new fighting type, but it's like, they're always just sort of, like, kind of bland looking to me.
Oh, some cool, like, fighting, like, combined fighting with another type, I'd say. Do you have grass fighting? Do you have that?
Oh, yeah, we do. But regional variant.
What's the grass fighting regional variant? What is it?
Wasn't it Decidueye?
Yes, it was. Yeah, Decidueye, because it was ghost grass before, weren't it?
Yeah, and then it was grass fighting.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And then we also had fire ghost.
Yes.
Typhlosion, yeah.
Typhlosion, and then Samurott was...
Dark water?
Yeah, water dark, yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that was a kind of lame one.
That was the worst one out of all of them.
I feel like whenever these variants or whatever, like whenever dark is the secondary typing, I just feel like all they do is kind of try to make it look a little more evil.
But it always fails though.
Yeah, it just looks kind of shit.
It's like the dark Meowth. Like the what was it
Oh,
Alolan
God,
Meowth.
yeah.
Oh no, Alolan Persian. I think Alolan Meowth looks a bit weird to begin with, but Alolan Persian is like, no, I hate it.
The only time I feel like it worked was Rattata.
Yeah, that works. Because the Rattata looked like an evil bastard anyway. Like Raticate looked like, well, Team Rockets were using normal Raticates anyway.
Yeah.
Then they just made like, oh, yeah, it's like evil plus.
Yeah, except it didn't. It looked like a Raticate that was trying to do a Godfather impression. Like,
I'm not gonna do that.
yeah, I'm not gonna do that either. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just
But
like,
he had the chubby cheeks, and it was like, yeah, okay, chubby cake.
yeah, I mean that's a nicer way of saying what everyone else was thinking. So we just won't go into that.
Oh,
We're not about shaming here.
that's not. Yeah, okay, yeah, cool. And okay, starters. What are you thinking about the starters then?
2/3 of them are cool.
Okay, because I feel like a lot of people have their preferences here.
Yeah, I'm going for Foy Coco.
I'm going for Foy Coco as well, yeah.
I'm loving that little bubble looking fire crocodile motherfucker.
Yeah, apparently it smells like a chili pepper. I've heard some like.
Yeah, I heard that too, and I kind of see it, but he still looks like bubble to me.
Yeah, I like just like how basic he looks as well. He's got the little teeth and he's got the eyes. I think the eyes are the things that like.
I don't know. I just love him because he's like bubble. So I imagine his head's gonna open, but I imagine when he opens his mouth, it's just gonna be like ah.
Yeah. I like that. I think I'm going for that as well. I'm gonna go for Free Coco.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for him, but like secondary is the little Donald Duck motherfucker.
Yeah, Quaxley.
Yeah, Quaxley. I love his little fucking Donald Duck ass. Like,
I'm quite glad that I'm not choosing another water type though, because in my out of all the games, the only types I haven't chosen that are water types were Bulbasaur, Cyndaquil, and Rowlet. So, and the rest of them I've always chosen water types just because I've preferred them.
Fair.
I'm glad that I'm going for another fire type this time, just so it kind of.
I don't share your
Yeah,
I pretty much have gone for fire type for almost half of the franchise, if not almost
Really?
the entire. I mean, through several playthroughs, I've obviously done different playthroughs where I've picked the fire type, but usually I gravitate to the fire type because I mean, it was like I think the only times I didn't was Totodile, Rowlet, Chespin. Chespin wasn't by choice, but I also still wouldn't have gone Fennekin. I would have gone Froakie, but
yeah.
Yeah, I've only had 2 or 3 where I haven't, but I mostly always go for the fire type.
Yeah. So okay, so you have the same problem as me. You just chose fire over water.
Yeah, except for me, I don't see it as a problem. Like, I'm also like a little problematic because whilst I agree we've got too many firefighting types, I'm also not adverse to that.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't get me wrong. I really hope he's not.
I don't think he will. I don't think this will be firefight. I don't think so.
I don't know. To me, just from coloration, I kind of want to see maybe fire ground.
Yeah, that's a cool one. I like that because like Numel in it. Yeah.
Double weak to water, but like 4 times effective water, but.
Yeah, they'd find a balancing with it, but we'll see.
I mean, it's not like they haven't put in Pokemon that have just a 4 times weakness anyway. You know what I mean? So
could be dragon type, and if what was the grass cat called?
Weed cat.
Sprigatito?
Weed cat.
Spaghetti weed cat.
Bliff cat. What?
Spliff cat. It's like
Sprigatito. I think it is Sprigatito.
It is Sprigatito. If we got fire dragon, maybe like fairy grass. But what is good against fairy, like water steel? But it's weird. It's the duck, the steel duck. It could be like duck could get a sword,
or it could be very concerning and be water poison.
As a duck, a water poison duck, I'd be interested in seeing that.
Because some ducks or most ducks are very toxic. I don't want to be making that kind of pun, but it's logical. It's logical.
Ducks are toxic. I love that. Yeah, they're just bust.
They're problematic. Them real ducks are fucking problematic, but I won't get into that. But if you were gonna go like grass fairy, yeah, you could either go water steel, but we've had that before. So water poison as well. Not the same, we haven't had that too, but like as a starter.
Yeah, as a starter, it'd be like cool. I can just see it being like Fuecoco evolving into dragon.
I'd hope not. It just makes it a bit potentially overpowered.
Yeah, I don't know. Depends on how much it depends on how fairies are in the thing. Just overload this world with fairies.
I don't know, but like I was just thinking, I hope Sprigatito turns into like a big old grass tiger instead.
Grass fighting. Grass fighting. It's literally gonna be like Incineroar.
But it's grass.
Yeah. There is that meme out there. There is totally that. It always throws me off that Incineroar isn't fighting type. It's fire dark, and it always throws me off. Like it's a wrestler. Why is it not fighting?
Because it's a heel. It's an evil wrestler. Yeah.
Right, okay, no. No.
Fine.
No. But no, like there's like so I feel like this is like a starter group where a lot of people actually have their favorites, and it's quite spread out, you know. I feel like everyone like I know like you're not a fan of the grass cat.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of weed cat, but
And for me as well, I'd probably choose the fire and water over grass. Like grass is my last option. I probably wouldn't have gone for it. There are loads of fans of Sprigatito out there.
oh, dude, it felt like for most people I saw online seemed to be in favor of Sprigatito rather than the others.
Yeah, yeah.
Funny enough, I saw more people questioning Quaxley than Sprigatito, and I'm like, but if you look at both of them, they're just the base animal with a thing.
Yeah.
Why do you love one over the other? I mean, I guess people could say the same to me. Why do I love the fucking duck over the cat? But the duck's just more interesting. It's got a hat. The cat is just a cat with a weed leaf on its face.
The whole water bird thing, I think some people are like, oh, okay, it's another water bird. Like, because you got Pelipper, you got like, what was it? The other duck. What was the other duck?
What, ducklet?
Ducklet. Literally ducklet. Literally duck.
Ducklet.
Yeah, Psyduck, water.
Yeah.
That's water psychic, let's be fair. It's a duck. There's a lot of ducks. I don't know. Is this called Seeing though?
What else do you want?
That's ducks. Let's remove Pokemon.
Okay, you go with Pepe's original, like, we another dolphin, make the dolphin a starter, but then I feel like they might ruin it by making it look like Poplio.
You know what makes me think like laugh about if there was a dolphin starter? It just reminds you of all those knockoff games. They're like, oh, we've come up with our own like weird like Pokemon designs, like knockoff, and there's always like some weird dolphin in there. Where it's literally just a dolphin, and it's just like, hey, it's a Pokemon. Look at it. And it's just like this really weird cartoon dolphin just sat there.
Well, I mean, what else do you do with them? Like some real life animals, that's hard to turn it into something interesting because that's it. They're just kind of like it.
I mean, then it feeds into the whole like, oh, they're not being creative enough because they're putting out the same stuff, or it's always.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you either make it look like the real life thing and get told you're not creative enough, or you end up making it look too much like a Digimon and then being told you're copying, right? Because I'm like, the only other thing is you slap some other stuff on it, right?
Yeah.
But then if you put anything that looks out of place, like, oh, it's a dolphin with armor on, it's like, well, now it's a Digimon.
And there's your water steel.
Exactly, but you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know, you can't win. You can't win.
Nah, there's a whole theory that like Quaxly's gonna evolve into like Don Quaxley or something. Like Don Quixote, basically, and it's gonna be
okay.
And it's gonna be like a sort of sword fighting duck.
Why not? I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah.
Like a Quetzalcoatl thing. You know, like that Mayan god.
I love that. Wait,
I think it's Mayan.
I'm thinking of the Axolotl. I think.
Yeah, I think you are.
I'm completely thinking of the wrong thing right now.
I think we're thinking of the same thing.
I don't know. I feel like I'm thinking of, you know, like Wooper's early design. Have you seen it? The early Wooper design, where it's not on 2 feet, it's on 4.
Oh, you're thinking of an axolotl.
I'm thinking of an axolotl.
I'm thinking of a Mayan god.
Very different things, aren't they? Unless an axolotl,
which is also it's more like an eagle.
Oh yeah.
But like,
I mean, Quaxly evolving into an eagle makes more sense than Quaxly evolving into an axolotl.
Into a completely different animal.
how, how hilarious would it be if that actually happened, though?
It's,
This is duck that turns into a completely different species. I love that. I want it to happen
God.
now. I regret choosing Fred Coco. I want the axolotl duck.
Oh God.
It's like the Pokemon randomizer.
It is, but I'm not even going to try and imagine a visual or make one. That is up to you to imagine.
You know, like they all have their little like sounds as well. That one would be like, kill me.
God, it's the Frog Prince from Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. Every moment I leave is pain.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Right, okay. And off of that, is there anything else you want to mention about Scarlet and Violet?
No.
Oh, I've got one last point, actually.
Okay.
It's legendaries.
Right, yes.
Like, I always base my choice of the game basically based on the box art of the game. In my opinion, Sword and Shield had the weakest legendaries. They're literally just two dogs.
Yeah, Sword Dog or Shield Dog.
And I only chose Shield in the end because I was like, well, I just prefer Shield over Sword. At this point, I didn't really care for the design that much at all, but like, I don't know, if all of the other ones, I've always been like, that legendary looks cool. Even though I won't use them in my party, I still feel like that legendary looks cool, I'm going to go for that. But this time, like, I just want two different enough looking legendaries. I don't want two similar looking dog bastards.
I think if Quaxly doesn't get it as a final evolution, I think the legendary, one of them, should be
Axolotl.
Not Axolotl, Quetzalcoatl. Or one of those sort of like ancient sort of Latin bird gods.
Okay.
I think that'd be cool. I don't know what the other one would be. Because, I mean, like, it's hard to go off of it because Scarlet and Violet, they're just different names for a shade of a color, you know, like.
Yeah, you can't really go off much at all, really.
So it's like something red and something purplish.
What even is that? Yeah, like, is it like Scarlet? Is it like a bull and it's like angry? Big angry bull?
Well, I mean, yeah, based off, you could probably do that based off of like location.
Yeah, and
you could either go for if it's not got something to do with like the legends and the myths of the locale, then it'd just be something like very stereotypically associated with that location. Like if it's Spain, then yeah, you'd think like a bull because of bullfighting.
Yeah, that's literally like a stereotypical thing.
A bull and I don't know what else. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, what is purple though? What can I mean, color scheme doesn't mean anything right now.
Yeah, color scheme doesn't mean anything. It could be it could be any fucking animal, and they're just like it's red and it's purple, or red and purple and whatever.
But right now, based off colors, I'm edging more towards violet just because it's purple.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't have a preference.
Yeah.
And nowadays, I try to synchronize up with a group of friends who's getting what, and then I just get the one opposite to one other person.
Yeah, that's fair. I've kind of like I don't know, a bit more selfish with it. I'm like, I want this one. I don't care. Like I've always gone like.
I used to care as a kid, but nowadays I'm just sort of like, well, between us all, we're gonna help each other get all the new Pokemon anyway. So I'm kind of like, it doesn't fucking matter what one I get. I'm gonna get what I need anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
When you're a kid, it makes more sense because like maybe you didn't have friends who had the game, you know, like maybe your friends didn't have any of the games, or they didn't know, you know, or maybe you didn't know there were differences between them. You just thought they were games. So that kind of makes sense, right? That as a kid you'd pick. But, you know, nowadays it just doesn't seem like it matters.
That's fair, yeah.
And again, that's another thing Arceus showed us, is that you don't need two versions, but they're still going to do it.
They're still going to do it. They are. And it's what they're known for at this point. I think to change that, I was hopeful that they wouldn't.
I think a lot of us were. I actually don't think you'd run into that much of a problem. You know, if you just did one.
Yeah,
I don't think you would actually run into it.
It really doesn't need to be two games. It really doesn't.
It really doesn't. Because all they're doing now is the same as they did back then.
Yeah.
But back then it had a reason, was because there wasn't the internet and you'd physically have to meet another person.
And then trade it, yeah.
Now we can trade over the internet and we don't even technically need the game anymore, right?
Yeah.
Because you can transfer it to home, and if you've got home, you can just trade through the internet on your fucking phone.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, why have we got two versions? Just make it available, all the Pokemon available in one game, and just focus more on just one game.
Yeah, I mean, it's wishful thinking at the end of the day.
It completely is.
We all wanted it. We wanted it to happen, but it just didn't. And that's a shame. No, again, my mind might change depending on what the Pokemon design. It also looks nice on the home screen. I don't want to look at like some ugly Pokemon on my home screen, man.
I guess that would be the difference, is if there was one version, you might be looking at something you don't want to.
Exactly, because that's on your home screen on your Switch. Like, it's just staring at you every time you open the game. If you don't want that Pokemon there, and if you dislike that Pokemon, I haven't really disliked a Pokemon that much. Maybe, I don't know, a Bruxish or something. I don't like that. It looks ugly. Oh, no, Pokemon Bruxish, imagine.
Oh, God.
I don't know, I want a cool looking Pokemon on my home screen if I'm going to have the option to. So, where the Pokemon's on the front, that's what I'll get. I like.
Fair.
That's how it be. That's my final point on legendaries.
Cool. Well, with that, thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, leave us a comment on what you want to have in the new Pokemon games, and check us out on all podcast platforms. We've got the descriptions, and yeah, we'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.
Okay, bye.